maybe 5 minutes later, I felt it. And I was just like, it felt like for the first time in my whole life that I could fucking breathe. I felt like I had been underwater for 16 years.
Speaking on who I was, who I am, and what I will become. Conversations of redemption. Conversations of redemption.
The city that never sleeps. New York is a city that doesn't wait for anybody. It doesn't pause for grief, it doesn't slow down for healing, and it doesn't ask if you're ready. Here, survival is assumed. Millions of people move through this city every day carrying stories that no one knows. Because if everyone stopped to feel them, nothing would function. New York teaches you how to compartmentalize, how to keep going, how to swallow what hurts and catch the next train. Chelsea's story belongs here because her life has unfolded inside of systems that demand performance. Not because she lacked strength, but because strength was required constantly. In New York, resilience isn't celebrated, it's expected. Chelsea talks about navigating trauma in a world that doesn't make room for it. About surviving not in isolation, but in institutions and expectations that keep moving whether you're ready or not. This city doesn't give you the luxury of falling apart quietly. If you break, you do it between appointments, between obligations, and between any other role that you have to play. Because if you don't keep up, someone else will. New York understands what it means to be visible and still unseen, to be surrounded by people and still alone. Chelsea's story isn't about escaping the system. It's about learning how to exist inside of it without losing yourself. Because not everyone gets to step away. Not everybody gets to heal in silence. Some people have to do the work while the world continues demanding more. This conversation is about pressure, about endurance, about what it costs to keep functioning when no one is asking how you're doing. This is New York, a city that keeps going, and a story about what it takes to stay whole inside the motion.
Wow. What an incredible experience it was today going around with you, New York, East Side, right? Upper East Side? Is that the technical name for it?
Yorkville is technically my neighborhood, but Upper East Side, yeah.
Chelsea, what an incredible human being. We met from Instagram.
Yes, because I messaged you like a crazy person. Just sobbing on my couch.
You would not believe the crazy messages I get from some people. You are very
sure.
much not a crazy person.
I wasn't expecting you to even see it. I felt so compelled. I watch videos like that all the time. Like, I'm sure when you were on my YouTube earlier, you saw my suggested as,
the thing about that for me is I never want to be that influencer or that content creator or that guy that somebody looks up to, that somebody's on the brink of real disaster and they reach out and I ignore it. Right? I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, but you can't put that on yourself, man.
I know that I can't, but I can. It's not hard for me to take 5 minutes at night and just scroll through my messages real quick. And I mean, a lot of them
even send a heart.
A lot of them are bullshit messages.
I'm sure, yeah.
But I have a very standard response for most people. But when somebody sends me something heartfelt, like, I just watched your story and I decided not to kill myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something back.
Right.
And so it's really awesome. So thank you for having me out and thank you for taking me around where you grew up. There's a lot of trauma in here.
Yeah.
And first I want to commend you for being so brave. We walked up to your dad's door, and your dad is the primary one that has caused you trauma in your life. We walked up to the door where he's at.
Yeah.
Sitting in that room.
You could hear the TV through the door.
How are you feeling after today? After all the stuff that we went through? I mean, that was kind of a trip back down through. And
yeah, I mean, I feel fine because that's, like I was telling you earlier, all of the bad, horrible things that I witnessed and experienced, I also have so many good memories there and so many fun memories, like even with my family, like with my friends. Like I lived in that building my entire life. From the day I was born, like I was brought home from the hospital to that building. My father grew up in that building. They moved in when it was first put up. They initially lived up on 89th Street, 88th or 89th, between York and First. And when that building was put up, they got a 3-bedroom apartment. It was my grandparents and my father and his siblings. And he has 4 siblings, so there's 5 of them. 2 of them have passed away. But yeah, he grew up in that building. I grew up in that building. A lot of my cousins grew up there.
It's generational, right? It's in your family. It's been passed down.
Yeah.
And so you grew up in this building is like your entire life is in this building. And now your father was very emotionally and mentally abusive.
Yeah.
And verbally abusive. He was an alcoholic, correct?
Yes, he is an alcoholic.
He
Yeah.
is an alcoholic still to this day.
Yes.
I want to get more into the healing that you've gone through because you're a very well put together human being. You have a beautiful life.
Wow, I'm so glad that's the vibe I get.
Yeah. I mean, just from my interactions with you, I mean, none of us are perfect, but
No, for
you're
sure.
very self-aware. And I got that from
1000%.
the first time we had a conversation on FaceTime. I got that you're very self-aware.
Thank you.
I want, for the people that are watching, I want people to try to take something away from your story of how we get to that spot. So in a nutshell, your father was very verbally and mentally abusive, and he tried to kill you. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Today. How did you start the healing process? Before we get in, I want to get into the addiction because we didn't really talk about that much today.
Yeah.
You fell into addiction. Can we get into that spot, how you got to that point in your life, and just kind of
Yeah.
take us through the addiction?
So I briefly mentioned earlier that I'm very fortunate in my addiction to where it doesn't transfer to other substances. I don't know how or why, but I try. Sometimes it's easier than other times, but I try my best to see the good in every situation, no matter how bad it is. But my addiction, I'm an only child, so in my apartment, it was literally just me and my parents. And I was addicted to opioids on and off for a very long time, up until 2020 was the last time I got sober. And
When did it start?
so it started, I don't remember, I want to say I was 16.
But I also wanted to touch on how opioids were introduced in your life because we talked about that
Yeah.
off camera.
Yeah.
Your father. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that. What he used to do with.
So I used to get sick a lot. Bronchitis, strep throat mostly, but I would get really bad coughs that would last just for months. And, growing up, both my parents were smokers. They smoked in the apartment, my whole life. So
You naturally picked that up.
naturally, they were so shocked when I was a smoker. And I was like, I've been smoking since the day I was born. Like I told you about the christening party, like in a non-ventilated basement room, everyone's smoking cigars and like cigarette. I'm just whatever.
Looking like a 1920s ad campaign.
Right.
room.
Like I got to show you a clip. It's wild, but the 80s.
Yeah.
So I had 2 medications I would always take. If I had like a cold, it was Dimetap. If I had a really bad cough, it was Robitussin. So occasionally, my father, at some point when I was very young, like really young, I want to say around 5, somewhere between 4 and 6, he would get so annoyed by my coughing that he started giving me some prescription cough syrup. And to me as a kid, it looked and kind of tasted like Robitussin, so I just assumed that's what it was. But, like I said, I was under his insurance. Eventually, after my pediatrician went to see the same doctor, and she started prescribing it to me as well. And it was hydrocodone syrup.
Jesus.
So not like promethazine with codeine, not, T3, not code. It was straight liquid Vicodin.
So
And
you're getting hydrocodone ingested into you at such a young age.
yeah. And again, I didn't know what it was. I think I figured it out. I had some sort of dental procedure. I think it was when I had my root canal on this tooth. And I remember picking up my prescription and it said hydrocodone. And I didn't put it together right away, but I was like, oh. It's like, but this is Vicodin.
Right.
I was like, I still didn't, I guess, want to believe it maybe. I was like, no, why would they give you Vicodin for a cough? Like, it just didn't make sense to me. So he would, give me that at night. He'd be like, here, this will make you tired. It'll put you to sleep. And it did. It, knocked me out. Of course, it was Vicodin, and I was 5. So as I got older, I remember one time, like around the time when I figured out what it could do, I was going to the doctor, and my father said to me before I left, he said, ask the doctor for the big bottle. And I was like, okay. Again, no clue.
Sure.
So I go to the doctor, and I think I was 15 or 16. And I tell her, I'm like, hey, my dad wants to know if, he's sick too. He wants to know if you could give me the large bottle of the cough syrup. And she stopped, and she turned and looked at me, and she was like, do you have an addiction problem or a drug problem? And I was like, no.
Wow.
And she was like, okay. And she prescribed me the big bottle. Again, still like,
Wow.
yeah.
That simple.
Yeah, that's simple. Now it's, they want you to have an addiction problem.
Sure.
God forbid you ask for
Gotta have the
800
victims.
milligrams of Motrin. They're like, oh, you're just trying to work up to that Percocet. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
So that time when I was sick, I had really bad bronchitis, I remember. And since it was my prescription, I just kept it on my nightstand next to me. And I would, take the little cup or a spoon and take it when I needed to. But there was one moment where I didn't have those next to me, and I just didn't feel good, so I didn't want to get up and go get one from the kitchen. So I was like, I'll just take, a little swig.
Yeah.
So I took a sip, assuming it was around the same amount, maybe a little bit more, and maybe 5 minutes later, I felt it. And I was just like, it felt like for the first time in my whole life that I could fucking breathe. I felt like I'd been underwater for 16 years. And I just, like, it's like, when you're just underwater for too long and you can see the surface. It's like I was looking at the surface the whole time, and I finally just broke through the surface. And it was like my lungs were just ever expanding. And I still in the moment, I didn't put it together that it was the syrup. I just thought I was, sick and a little loopy.
Yeah.
And then a few minutes later, I was like, oh, that's what it was. And it felt like somebody took a pot of like perfectly warm honey and just slowly poured it on the top of my head, and it just consumed my whole body. Like, it was warm and safe and comfortable, and everything was fine. Everything was fine.
And this was the beginning of your addiction, huh?
Yeah, and I didn't know it was an opioid. I didn't know any of that.
You're a lesbian.
Yes.
And you didn't come out until you were in your 20s, right?
Yeah.
But did your parents know before you came out?
So I've asked my mom that, and initially she was like, no. But like I asked her recently again, and she was like, Chelsea, the amount of Britney Spears posters you had on your wall was questionable.
Did you have a fear of coming out to your parents?
Oh my
as
God,
a child?
yeah.
And do you think that played into the addiction when it started at 15, 16 years old? Do you think that was like, do you think maybe like you couldn't breathe, right? Do you think that's why you couldn't breathe? Aside from the fact that you were dealing with narcissistic abuse at home, Did you feel trapped in
I mean, I'm sure a part of me did. My focus a lot of the time wasn't on that because I would push it down so far. Like I had a boyfriend at the time.
and you were also Catholic, right?
Yeah, my family's Irish, Catholic, white.
Did that play a fear like internally for you? You were like, because you said
Oh,
you had a lot of
1,000%.
boyfriends and you
Yeah.
you had a lot of sex
Yeah.
to try to
Yeah, I would have.
throw people off from the fact that you were gay.
Yeah. So my family's idea of a good time growing up was a lot of drinking and telling a lot of jokes that are not funny. A lot of homophobia, a lot of racism. And it wasn't always like direct homophobia or direct racism. It was,
Sure.
a tangent of it or read between the but I knew what they were saying. Like, I'm not stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just made very clear. Even my father just watching television and seeing somebody and just needing to make a comment about it, about them maybe being gay. It was very clear that those were not people that were acceptable. I also didn't have any gay friends at the time. The only person I knew that was gay was my Uncle Joe on my mom's side. And my father, again, made it very clear that he was less than
Yeah.
because he was gay.
It's got to be very difficult on a young mind.
I mean, it was. I was just really good at pretending that I wasn't. Like I said, I would have rathered people, like when I heard rumors about myself that I was like a slut, I was like, yes,
It's working.
it's working. Like I loved it because that was the furthest thing from people's minds.
Yeah.
If they thought I was fucking all these dudes or I was hooking up with, hooking up with all these dudes,
Yeah.
I'm definitely not gay. You know what I mean? I also just was very feminine and I could pass easily.
So do you think that once you get this rush from this drug, did that somehow make you feel better about that as well?
It made me feel better about
Just
everything and anything.
So take us through what happens next after you get this initial. That's the dragon, right? That's the first.
Yeah.
That's
So
what everybody's
again,
chasing.
it didn't hook me right away. My addiction was very gradual. So I now knew that that's what that medicine was capable of. But I also knew we didn't have it all the time. I didn't know it was an opioid. I didn't know it was addictive. I just thought this is how it makes you feel. That was the extent of it. And, this was back in, 2006, 2005, 2005, 2006. So we didn't have social media the way we do now. Like, research on the internet was not the same as it is now. Like, when we were writing papers in school, we still had to go to the library
Right.
and
You had to research.
Yeah, like go through books or like go through the articles. It's not the I couldn't just Google a question. You couldn't write a question into Google and have it understand what you were saying.
Right.
Like, you just had to put keywords and then some articles that were associated with those words would come up. That was it. I also didn't think to even do that because why would I? It's
Right.
just, I feel great. I'm going to enjoy this. And that was it. And then after I figured out what it was, this was a couple years later. Like, I would play with it when we had it, but then I would let it go. And I just didn't have it anymore. Because I was partying a lot. It was high school, drinking. I drank with my friends. I never liked it, but it was fun to be drunk. It just wasn't fun to
Sure.
drink.
And this is
Cocaine
all
was super
happening
prevalent.
over here on this river walk that we were on.
Yeah.
This is where all the partying was going on.
Yeah, so in the park we were drinking a ton. When we were able to get into bars, cocaine was everywhere. There was a bar that closed recently that was there for a long time. It started as a biker bar. It's called American Trash. It's on 77th and 1st. And when you walked in, the bouncer would literally open a drawer and be like, hey, if you need anything, just come see me. And he would just have Coke. Like, it was just so normal.
Wow.
So, like, the first time, one of my friends in high school, randomly, we were at her house. She was like, do you want to try cocaine? Sorry, Jenna. That's how she sounded. Do you want to try cocaine? And I was just like, okay. I was never, like, nervous if someone was like, do you want to try this? I never felt pressured. Like, if I didn't want to try something, I'd be like, no, I'm good. Like, I never felt peer pressure, but I was also popular and a leader. I get, like, people, whatever.
Sure, you were the popular pretty blonde girl.
Yeah, and I was not nice, so people were scared of me. Like, to this day, people still come up to me. Like, told my wife not too long ago, we ran into someone I went to high school with, and she was like, I was so scared of Chelsea in high school.
Because you told me you were a bully in school.
Yeah. Like,
How do you feel looking back at that now?
Disgusting. I hate it. The thing is, I didn't ever go out of my way to bully someone. I wasn't trying to fight people. But if somebody said something to me or to one of my friends or somebody I cared about, you were gonna hear it.
So you weren't the kind of bully that's going to pick on the poor kids.
No.
Or none of that.
No, I wasn't.
You were just an aggressive person.
Yeah. I wanted people to be scared of me.
Sure.
Because again, I didn't want anyone to think I was gay in an all-girls Catholic school. I remember around prom, they made it very clear because there were gay girls at my school, obviously. You can't have a building full of females and all of them are straight. That's just not statistically possible.
Yeah.
And they made it very clear that you were not allowed to bring a date of the same gender. And that was just another thing to be like, this is unacceptable. This is not okay. And people still did. Like, my friend Juliana was dating an old friend of mine, Tina. But if Tina wanted to, she could pass as a guy, especially back then in high school because we were younger. So Juliana showed up with Tina, and she was a few years younger than me. So this was even a few years later. She was a freshman when I was a senior. So by the time her prom came, it was the same rules.
Wow.
But she brought Tina, and one of the teachers was like, you need to go. And Tina looked at her and said, I'm a boy. And the teacher said, no, you're not. She said, you want me to prove it? You want me to take my pants off? She's like, I'm telling you I'm a boy. You can believe me or not. But I'm telling you I am. So you can let me in or you're going to have a problem. And they let her in.
Oh, wow. I guess that worked. Pump fake it.
Yeah, the people from Yorkville are...
And this is, again, Upper East Side, New York, right? This is like Gossip Girl stuff, right? Is that what you said? The Gossip Girl area, right? It's kind of what it was like. So that was your high school phase. Mm-hmm. And when did you get into the drugs? When did, like, drugs become a factor?
Probably, it's so funny. It was after I came out.
So drugs in your 20s? So you
like my early 20s.
So you had already told me, like, you had and this is something I want to emphasize on this show, is that not all trauma looks the same. You were never sexually abused. You were never, like, you didn't get beaten on a regular basis. You had a pretty good life with good friends and good people in an affluent area of New York. And a good-looking young blonde girl. But the trauma existed behind the scenes. Again, it looks beautiful on the surface, but your dad was a narcissistic alcoholic who used to beat your mother. Even if your mother denies it, most abuse victims will deny it and say that you were wrong to try to protect them. You've witnessed the abuse. That is trauma, and here it is. You're hiding your sexual orientation. You're doing things to subvert the attention. So that trauma has an effect on you. Take us to after high school. What does 19, 20, 21-year-old Chelsea do and look like? Because you were right here. You went to college, right?
I went to a few different colleges. So in high school, it was more so drinking and cocaine. It wasn't an addiction, but it became, I was doing it too much. Like, I was doing it right after school on school nights and sitting in my room with Jenna, drinking a bottle of Absolute, like a couple of Degenerates, and doing lines like off our vocabulary book. I have photos of that too.
Oh my God.
And up until 5 a.m, playing music on my stereo. Nobody came to my bedroom door and was like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? You have school in the morning. It's 5 a.m. You have school in 2 hours.
Wow.
And after that, I first went to a school in West Palm Beach, Florida called Northwood University. And the campus is still there, but it's a different school. And I went there because it was the only college I got into. Because I was more focused on my social life and partying and navigating my lies and everything going on at home. Because I had to. Because I actively watched my father lie to our family members, like at Christmas parties.
Sure.
And be like, oh, she's a straight A student. And I would look at him and be like, is this a joke? I'm just not going to say anything because he's looking at me and smiling, but I can see it in his eyes. And I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to shut up.
He's wanting you to co-sign the lie. And he's basically threatening you with a look.
Right.
Sure.
So, it's not like other members of my family never saw that side of him. They 1000% did. It was blatantly obvious, but it was also Chelsea's a spoiled brat, and Uncle Tim gives her whatever she wants and throws money at her and buys her everything. And it's like, yeah, but he also calls me a fucking fat whore and laughs in my face when I'm crying to him, telling him that he's actively hurting me. So,
And that,
ladies
and gentlemen, is trauma.
Yeah.
Because that has kids kill themselves over that.
Yeah. I needed to be there
pains.
to protect my mom.
Sure, because you witnessed from the closet him beating your mother once.
Yeah.
Even if your mother might deny it, which that's gaslighting.
I don't even.
By definition,
the
because
thing is,
if
like,
she
maybe
knows
she
that
doesn't
you
even remember. Do you think that's possible?
I think she was, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, but I think she's trying to protect you from that memory, trying to make you think that you didn't actually see it.
Yeah.
Which is gaslighting.
Yeah.
Right? You know that you witnessed that. Like, if it's a dream. If something's not
Yeah.
real. And that's just, it's gaslighting, but she probably did that as a defense mechanism and a protection mechanism.
Yeah.
So
But the drugs.
Let's get out of college. So college went
We're in
relatively
college.
good, and we graduate, and now we're going to, let's get to the drugs.
So I go to West Palm, again, Florida, a lot of cocaine. I withdrew from all my classes. And basically just lived there for a while. I had to go back home because I got mono almost immediately.
Oh,
and
man.
they sent me home for a few weeks. Oh my God, I was so skinny though. I was so hot and tan and skinny. Not that that's what being hot is. I just, again, 2007, that was the vibe,
Sure.
So I go back, a lot of cocaine, not really drinking. And then I move back home because I was like, my parents forced me here. I did not want to come here. I came here because it's the only school I got into, and I said, I don't want to go, and they said, you're fucking going. So I guess I'm going then.
Guess that settles that.
So, it was a trimester school, so I was like, none of my credits are going to transfer, so they let me come home. Came home, and I started at Mercy College. And came out a couple years later, again, like partying normally, drinking, hanging out. And then one day I'm in the car.
When you came out?
I was 22, 23, and I only came out because of my friend Tina that I mentioned earlier. We're not friends anymore, but she was always known around the neighborhood as like the lesbian, like lesbian Tina. Like
Gotcha.
it was just our whole life. You couldn't get around it, and there was nothing wrong with it. It's just that's how she was known.
Sure.
And I ended up becoming really close with her, and Juliana, her ex-girlfriend that I mentioned earlier, her and her two best friends, Daniela and Alexis, were always around because, you know, we were all young. We were hanging out. If Juliana came by to hang out with me and Tina, so did Daniela and Alexis. Tina's gay. Juliana was gay. Alexis is gay. Daniela weeble wobbles. She's, you know, fluid. So I was like, oh, like, this feels so nice. Like, this is just,
You're not alone anymore.
yeah, like, you guys are just living your life. And, like, it was so nice to look at the TV and be like, damn, she's hot.
Sure.
And, like, not just think it in my head and then be like, nope, 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 can't think that. You can find a guy. You can find a guy you can tolerate for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Well,
And I was convinced I could. I really thought that's what my life was going to be. So I, again, was very privileged. My family always had a car. I showed you the garage earlier. So when I got my license, my parents were like, go ahead. And I was like, feels like a poor choice, but okay. So my friends and I would drive around all the time. We would drive down to the beach. You know, we would go up to Yonkers, see my other friends. And one day I'm in the car with, I think, two of my friends, Shir and Ariana. And just really randomly, I don't know what I was thinking about. I don't know why. I just said, I could really go for a Percocet right now. And I don't know why, but I had learned more about like what the hydrocodone was by that point, and you know how I could get that feeling. I missed it. I hadn't had it in a very long time. It's like I just want to feel like that right now.
yeah. I want
and-
that first feeling.
Yeah, and I knew it was going to be good because I hadn't had it in a long time. So I really just wanted something small, like maybe a banana, 10 milligram per, you know what I mean, 5 or 10 mil. I wasn't active in addiction yet, so I didn't need that much. But my friend Ariana called one of my guys that lives in the projects that I took you to earlier, and she was like, oh, he has those. Great. So he says, I don't have Percocet, but I have Opanas. And I was like, I don't know what that is. He said, they're 80 milligrams, they're really strong, don't take the whole thing. Like, you could die. So considerate.
A kind drug dealer.
Yeah. Like I said, all my dealers were homies, you know what I mean? Like, and also they don't want to go to prison. So,
Right.
so I'm like, okay, cool. And at the time, I bought those for $20 a pop, which is insane because those today would easily be over $100. And every Thursday, my father would toss $100 on my desk instead of spending time with me or apologizing or, you know, being a decent person.
Right.
So I would use that money to tolerate him. And to do that, I needed to not care about every single sound and movement that was going on in that apartment. So I would buy 5 of them, and it would last me a week. And I would just, the texture was like paper, so I would just like rip off little pieces, and it was fine. Then one day he didn't have those, but he had Roxy's, blues. So I was like, okay. And he was like, these are 30 milligrams. And I was like, cool, so I'll do like half. And that's when I was like it was that first feeling like times 10.
Wow.
But then it was like, when you don't have a tolerance, you could feel that good feeling, and then maybe like 20, 30 minutes later, you're barfing your brains out for 2 days because it just makes you dizzy and nauseous and whatever. But it was worth it for that feeling because I thought that's how everybody else felt normally,
Sure.
like on a daily basis. Like, this is what it feels like to not be afraid or have anxiety or worry about things that are so minuscule and worry about them on such a grand scale. It's like my head is quiet.
Yeah.
I don't have these thoughts, well, what if this happens? Then you got to do this, you know. It's...
So this graduates somehow to heroin, right? That became your your drug of choice, right?
So I never did heroin as my drug. It really stayed with blues. Blues were my drug. I have done heroin before.
So you were more of a pill addict.
A pill addict, yeah. It was really any opioid, but like in the beginning, you know, you're very like, I was like a bougie little bitch about what kind of drugs that was gonna do. It's like I'm not doing heroin. I'm gonna stick with my pills. Like it's the same thing, bitch. Like, you know what I mean?
So take us to the lowest point with these pills. When did you know that you had a problem and it was time to change that?
Several years after I went to rehab. Several years. So I went to rehab in 2014, I believe, or 2015, because I was forced to. Because I was using, but I wasn't using to an extent where I was dependent on them. I had never experienced withdrawal. It was just getting a little out of hand.
Sure.
And this was after I, you know, had moved to California and I was living out there for a relationship. And when that ended, I came home and I was using out there too. I found a dude on Instagram that would ship me tons of pills. And again, no withdrawal, nothing. But my friends made it a huge deal and they called my mom. And my mom freaked out because she wasn't in New York. She was in Florida. And so she said, you're going to rehab or you're getting out. I was like, well, I guess I'm going to rehab then, because that's a little inconvenient, but like, whatever. So a lot of rehabs won't take you unless you detox first. So they were like, well, you got to go to detox. And I was like, I don't think I do. But okay. So they found a detox, and it is terrifying. It's terrifying. It was like what I imagine jail kind of being like. It's
kind of the same thing.
Yeah, they took all of our stuff, and I sleep with a blankie because I have trauma and I like it. My mom's going to kill me for this, but I think it smells like her, and it definitely doesn't. But like, I don't know why. Whatever. But I begged them to not take my blankie, and they let me keep it. Which was, the guy was like, just tell him it's a headscarf. I was like, sir, this is in 4 pieces, and I'm white. What are you talking?
That's not gonna work.
Yeah, but they let me keep it, so I was like, whatever. So, like, the extent of my use at that point was so minimal that the methadone they were giving me for detox was getting me high.
Oh wow.
Okay, like I started I think it was 50, 40, 20, 10, and then 5 on your last day, and then they let you go. Like if you're a true addict, 50 milligrams of methadone is not going to touch you. And I slept nonstop for the first 2 days because I was high and knocked out from this methadone.
Off the methadone.
Off of 50 milligrams and 40 milligrams of methadone. So like that's how minimal my use was at that point. So I spend 5 days there, and I'm thinking I'm going to go home. I hadn't showered. I would not. It was just not good there. Like, we would get Valium every 4 hours. Like, people were trading it, like snorting it. And I'm like, snorting benzos is a waste, but go off.
Do you, boo?
So my friends, Daniela and Juliana, and my mom came to pick me up, and they were like, you're going right to rehab. And I was like, real, I was so pissed. And I was like, I can't just get like a day at home. I just spent 5 days in this terrible fucking place. And my poor old roommate, Rose, I hope Rose is okay. I miss her. And they were like, no. And I was like, whatever. So we go to Modell's, and I buy all my, lesbian clothes, basketball shorts, t-shirts, whatever. And I go to New York Presbyterian Westchester. And it was very nice. It was a very nice place. I had straight Medicaid, so they only covered 14 days, which cures addiction, in case you were wondering. And I go there. One of my friends I met in Detox ended up going there, and it was like summer camp. It was, you could have your own room or a roommate. I roomed with my Detox friend. And they gave me my mental health meds, but you couldn't smoke there, so I was like, ooh, like real angry. And they ended up, I met with my team of doctors, and they said, we think you're a good candidate for this medication, Suboxone. It's like, I don't know what that is. So,
Synthetic heroin.
yeah, pretty much. And again, I didn't need it. I didn't need
Yeah,
it.
it's almost like they created an addict.
They
out of you.
1,000% did. I am very, very confident. I'm not saying I would never have become an addict. There is a very good chance, and just probability-wise, I probably would have developed some sort of problem, but it would not have gotten it wouldn't have gone to the extent that it did, because they put me on 8 milligrams of Suboxone a day, and that's. I know people are on 16, 30, to like these wildly high doses. 8 milligrams is the most you should be taking. There is a ceiling with Suboxone. If you're taking more than that, it's not
Sure.
it's not therapeutic
It
for
was
you.
one of the hottest drugs in the penitentiary.
Right. And why did I take this Suboxone? Because my friend from Detox looked at me and said, if you take that, it'll give you a buzz. Because at first I was like, I don't want that. Like, I don't want another medication to have to remember to take every day. I can barely remember to take my Wellbutrin. It's like, you know what I mean? But as soon as she said that, I was like, oh, well, I can't have cigarettes in here. I'm a little bored. I could get high. They're going to give me something that's going to get me high in rehab? I was like, yes. Yep. So I did. And it did.
I personally think that that's one of the problems with rehab.
Yes.
A lot of rehabs, they're not interested in curing you. They're interested in keeping you.
And they're interested in getting that extra check.
That, right, because that's how they make money. It's a business for them on that side of things. And this seems just like it falls right into that narrative for me. And I may be wrong, but that's just my opinion. That's what I get.
So I took the Suboxone, and here's the thing. Doctors need to have a special certification to prescribe Suboxone. You can't just prescribe Suboxone. If you go to any hospital or any doctor's office and you're like, I ran out of Suboxone, I need it, they're going to be like, we can't help you. We don't have doctors here who are certified. And when you're certified and you write that prescription, you get money for every prescription you write. So nobody wants to get you off of it.
Right.
So after rehab, I went to outpatient, and I was sober for 4 years. A lot of people would say I wasn't sober because I was on Suboxone, but you could come talk to me about that, okay? So I was doing great. I was going to outpatient, and I was on the Suboxone, taking to get my little buzz every morning, drinking my coffee, having a great time. It's like, oh, I'm prescribed this. This is fine. I didn't learn the first time. So eventually I'm like, I feel like I haven't taken a shit in like a year. Like you good? Like, what's going on? So I'm looking it up, and I can't find anything, of course. So I go to my doctor at my outpatient, and I'm like, yo, what's going on here? Like, that's some of my favorite time. That's my me time,
Right.
She's like,
not
oh,
right
I don't,
here.
yeah, so I don't know. Suboxone doesn't cause that. You're a doctor, you have a medical degree, you're a doctor who works actively in a substance abuse outpatient program and actively prescribes Suboxone, and you're going to tell me that opioids don't cause constipation, my guy? And I believed her because at the time I didn't know. Again, I was not an addict at that time. I was dependent now on Suboxone. And I didn't realize because I was just taking it every day. And so one day, she's sending in my medication. I go to pick it up. They don't have it. She never sent it in. So I call my counselor, and I'm like, she never sent my meds in. And my counselor goes, oh, my God. And I was like, what? She said she just left for 2 weeks on vacation.
Oof.
And it's not that simple for just another doctor there to write my prescription. Because
it's a process.
They just make it so simple for you to get your medication that they make you dependent on.
Yeah, it's a process.
And that was the first time I experienced withdrawal. And I thought I was gonna fucking die. I thought I was gonna die. And Suboxone withdrawal is really, really, especially if you've been consistently taking 8 milligrams at that point for a couple years. Like, nobody educated me about it. I was just taking it because that was my medication. I stopped getting my buzz because, you know, your tolerance goes up. So I was just taking it because it was my meds. And I started going through withdrawal, and the thing is, people think withdrawal is just physical. It's not.
No.
It's not.
It's mental, it's emotional, it's traumatizing.
It's on top of, I hate when people are like, withdrawal is like a bad flu. No. I wish it was like a bad flu. I wish. I'm more traumatized from withdrawal than probably any other part of my addiction. Like, the cause obviously is my trauma, but like, especially Precipitated, I'll get to that. But I'm calling my counselor and they're trying to figure it out, but it takes a while. So I'd never done this before. I begged my mom for money so I could go cop. And I'd never been like open about my addiction before. I was like, Mom, I can't do this. Everything is like, I just feel scared and like I'm just trapped here and everything hurts and I can't stop moving. I can't sleep and I'm just exhausted and it's like torture. She said no. So then I went back to her a little while later and I said, I found Suboxone. One of my friends has one, but it's $60. And I'm pretty sure she was lying. She just didn't want to know she was giving me money for drugs. And that's when I relapsed on blues. Mm-hmm. And that's when I was taking them because I had to, or I was going to get sick. And at the time, they were real blues. They were Percocets. And, you know, that's what I started doing. And I did get my Suboxone, and I did start taking my Suboxone again. And I stopped with the blues because there's no point once you're taking Suboxone. It's not going to do anything. It's just a waste of money.
It, yeah.
So I was clean, like I said, for 4 years, and it was kind of gradual back into it. And I dabbled here and there, but then I would go back on my Suboxone. I was very much like, I need to catch this, and I would use for a little bit and then go back. That was kind of a little bit of a cycle. And then 2020 happened with my father when he tried to kill me.
Yeah.
And I ended up in the shelter, and then I just didn't give a fuck. That unemployment came through, and I just said, oh, I forgot about it. And I just woke up one morning and checked my bank account for whatever reason, and it was almost $4,000 in there. And I was still taking the bus and the subway from the Bronx every morning to go to the methadone clinic where I got my Suboxone. I was still trying. And as soon as I saw that money, I said, I'm not fucking doing that. I just want to not feel any of it. I couldn't breathe. My whole family, most of my family just completely abandoned me. And they took his side. They said I was a liar. That I was being dramatic. Because the DA's office places you in a domestic violence homeless shelter because you're lying and being dramatic. During the peak of fucking a global pandemic. And it was a family shelter because I had my dogs. Thank whoever that existed, because my dogs, they were all I had. My mom was in Florida and her building didn't allow dogs, so I couldn't go there. It was also COVID. Couldn't go anywhere. And I went to this shelter and they basically said, you have 6 months to figure out your whole life.
and then if you have nowhere to go, we're gonna have to move you to a women's shelter, and you can't bring your dogs there. And I was like, so it's June 7th of 2020, and you're telling me I have until December during a pandemic to figure out my whole life after my father just tried to take it away from me? Okay.
Wow.
That's not gonna happen. So I couldn't sleep. I didn't even want to get high. I just wanted I wanted a Xanax. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't catch my breath for days and days and days. I couldn't fucking breathe. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't do anything but just cry and just try to catch my breath. And it just felt like there was somebody just like pushing their foot into my chest. And my dogs would wake me up at 6 a.m, just shaking, just waking me up because they were scared.
Sure.
They didn't know what was happening. And so I would take them out, and that unemployment came through, and first thing I did immediately was hit up my dealer, and I bought a ton of blues. But in the beginning, I was still going to my program. I was still going because I was being selfish. I wanted to do what I wanted to do, but make sure that if I wanted to get back on my Suboxone, that I could, and I would have it, and I would have that safety net. And I remember my dealer being like, oh, I can sell them to you now for like this price. Like the price went down. Not even, I thought of nothing but just I want them in my hand. I want to be crushing them up and snorting them immediately. I just cannot feel this anymore. It is too much. And at the time I didn't know, but they were fentanyl. Because like I had, as far as I knew, nobody was hooked on that yet. Like I knew people had come across it, and I had some friends. I lost some friends because of it, but I assumed it was because their stuff was laced. Like I didn't know that people were just lying and being like, "This is not fentanyl. Here you go." You know what I mean? So I tried to take my Suboxone one day, like I normally did. And I went into precipitated withdrawal, which I told you is all the withdrawal condensed into like 12 hours.
Yeah, it's like a month and a day.
Yeah,
half a day.
It's really, really scary. It's really scary. And that's what traumatized me. And I didn't understand why it was happening because I had been doing this for a while. And it kept happening. Like it happened a few times, and it was really bad. So, eventually I'm like, well, I just got to keep using because I can't get back on my Suboxone. So I just kept using. And my unemployment would come through, I would cop more. So I managed to get a job. My mom helped me find a job. And, I was making good money. And one day at work, I'm scrolling through Instagram, and I keep getting these ads just over and over and over for this new lesbian dating app. Just download this app. Like, it was insane. I had never seen ads like, I was like, what is going on?
Right.
Like, why is this happening? It was so incessant that I downloaded the app just being like, maybe the algorithm will see that I downloaded it and it will stop.
Just so the ads will go away.
It was every other photo was an ad for this app. I literally never, I was like, what? Is this a glitch? I even exited Instagram and went back in. Still happening. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll just download it. So I download it, I make a real basic profile. I swipe 3 times. No. Yes. We matched. It's like, I'm in no fucking position to be in a relationship. Like, what am I doing?
Right.
So I message her and I'm like, yo, like, I'm not keeping this app. Like, I just downloaded it to make the ad stop. Like, if you want to hit me up, here's my number. That was it. Deleted. Didn't wait for her to respond. Nothing. Like, that was it. Because again, I'm homeless. I'm addicted to fentanyl.
Right. I'm a
Like,
homeless
my
drug
father
addict,
just
like-
tried to kill me. Like, my whole family abandoned me. I've got 2 dogs. Like, I have no clothes. Like, my best sweatpants have a hole in them. You know, it's not, oh, yikes. But she texted me. And I was like, oh, hey. So, I'm really not, like, putting any effort into it. Because I'm like, again,
All right, whatever.
you
Self-worth.
don't trust me. You
Right.
don't want this in your realm because I'm just gonna ruin your life. But she was insistent, and I kept making plans to hang out with her. And one time I did fall asleep. Another time, something else happened. I don't remember. But the third time, I just stood her up because. Again, I was in my own shit.
So we stood her up 3 times.
3 times. And I thought maybe, like, after that, she would have been like, all right, like, fuck this bitch. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
She's a dick. Like, whatever. But no. She was like, I am ordering you an Uber. You're going to get in the Uber and you're going to come over. And I was like, okay. So I don't even do drugs. I just take a Xanax because I'm genuinely nervous. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, she's so pretty, like,
Right.
I'm a mess, like, what do I do? Like, I don't want to bring this into anybody's life. So I get there, and I realize she lives 2 blocks away from me in Manhattan.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, how long have you lived here? She was like 10 years. I said, excuse me?
Wow.
10 years?
Neighbors this long.
She said, well, actually, before this, I lived on 83rd and 1st, which is 2 blocks away from me on the other side. So for 5 years, she lived 2 blocks away on this side. And then for 5 years, she lived 2 blocks away on this side. So she was right here for a decade.
Wow.
But that's how Yorkville is. If you are not in Yorkville, if you are not chilling in Yorkville, if you go downtown and not uptown, you ain't never gonna bump into each other. To this day, I don't know if we ever bumped into each other.
So we meet in what?
We meet, and I barely looked at her, barely spoke to her the whole night. I was like sitting there on my phone, and at the shelter, you had to sign in. You had to sign in by 8 a.m. every single day. So I told her, I have to go back, I have to sign in either tonight or by 8 a.m. She was like, but I want you to stay. And I was like, cool, but like I'll get thrown out of the shelter if I don't. Like,
Right.
I'll have.
If
You
I
want me to move
stay,
in too?
I'm not gonna be able to.
Yeah, so like I either move in on day 1, which wouldn't be weird for lesbians because y'all know.
Right.
She was like, okay, so she would pay for my Ubers because she wanted me to be fast. Like, she did not want to be away from me. And I was like, why do you like me so much? What are
saw
you
something.
looking at right now in this part of my life, especially, and being like, that, I want that one. It's like she went to the shelter and just found the most sick, disabled, oldest dog or pet what she could find, and
I want that one.
I want that one. I want it to consume my whole life, and that's it. I didn't have anything to lose, and I didn't know this. I didn't know her yet, so I told her everything. I tell her everything. I'm like, listen, this is what happened. I am an addict. I am currently physically and mentally addicted to fentanyl. My father, who tried to take my life just a couple months ago, we can see my apartment from here. He lives right there. We actually ran into him one day at Duane Reade, the 1 block between us.
Wow.
And he was buying an 18-pack of beer, Natty Light, classy motherfucker.
Fun guy.
So that's the only time she's ever seen him.
Right.
So I lay it all out there, and I'm like, if I just tell her, there's no way. Like, I don't want to do it to this. She's the best person on planet Earth. She's way too good for me. She's successful. She's kind. She she's just warm. Like that feeling that I got
Yeah.
from the hydrocodone.
Yeah.
That's what she gives me.
Yeah. She became your drug.
Like she's my warm honey now, and I call her honey.
So I tell her all of it, and I'm expecting her to be like, all right, yeah, maybe we should not. But she was like, okay.
She saw something.
And I was like, what? She was like, that's all fixable. We can fix all of that. We'll figure it out. I'll help you. We'll do it together. I was like, did you hear me? Are you
paying
okay?
Attention to what I just said.
Like, should I be scared of you right now? Why are you not scared?
It's unbelievable for people like us. I had the same thing with my
Yes.
wife. Like, you did hear what I just told you
Yeah.
about my life.
Like that's active.
I was a guest on her
currently.
podcast, so I'm dumping my whole life on this woman. Like,
Yeah.
and you want to talk to
And
me
they're like,
again? Right? Like, you want to? She calls me her bit of rough. You know, she's English, so I'm her bit of rough.
So cute.
And so, but they see something in us, right? And that's those of us that have been traumatized. We haven't lost our humanity. We haven't lost who we are on the inside. It's just broken.
Yeah.
And some people have the ability to see that. And it sounds like your wife had the ability to see that you're still this beautiful person that just is broken. And love conquers that. Love can fix that.
It can.
And look at you.
If she wasn't as selfless and patient, I'm convinced she's not real. First of all,
We're going to do another follow-up show just about your wife and the relationship.
You guys-
Once the
oh my
episode
gosh, you
comes
have to
out, we're
meet
going to
her.
do follow-ups. Let's talk about how that relationship, you guys obviously fell madly in love. You had a wonderful wedding. I saw some pictures.
we had two
Fantastic.
weddings.
2 weddings.
2 weddings.
Absolutely fantastic.
I was fat in one, less fat in the other one.
And just for time-saving purposes, this woman became everything for you, became your rock. You turned your life around, fixed it, and got on the path. I want somebody to watch this and take away, what is it? What was that moment you realized I have something, I'm worth something, and I want something more for myself? What was that? What are you doing now? What does your life look like? Give us the good.
My life is... Well,
Aside
first
from your road rage, because this
Yeah.
woman has road rage on an epic level. That's Jersey road rage.
that's New York.
The good stuff.
Oh.
Right? She's just thinking about it. She's mad. Like, I wish I had my horn.
No, I tell people all the time driving in this city is going to give me a fucking stroke. And people are lucky that I'm not a violent person or like a psychopath because
New
yikes.
York driving. It's put me to the test myself.
I'll tell you after. So
You're apex. Where are you at? Where are you at in life?
So my best friend was even saying I never thought I was going to get married.
Sure.
I never thought I was going to live this long.
Sure.
I've lost so many of my friends. I miss them so much. I, to this day, don't understand why I'm the one that is still here because I messed up. But
It's the same reason why your wife found you. Because you have a purpose. There's a reason you're here. Right? There's a reason you're here. There's a reason I found you. There's a reason you're talking to me, because you're a survivor. And you will inspire somebody.
I'm tired of being God's strongest soldier.
Listen, you will inspire people who've been through what you've been through and don't know how to get past it.
Hi, Mama.
This is how.
Hi, baby.
This is how.
I
If you have
just-
one piece of advice to give somebody that's watching that might be where you're at, that is currently where you were.
You are exactly
tell 'em.
where you're supposed to be. Your miracle could happen in 5 minutes from now. And if you are getting incessant, annoying ads on your phone about an app, just fucking download it. Go get your soulmate. Go, because
You never know where that omen comes from. Or
I-
not omen, but that blessing comes from.
And
right?
you know what's crazy is the first time I lost one of my friends, I was 17, not to drugs. I'd known him since preschool. We were friends my whole life, and he died on the subway very tragically. But he always said everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason.
And it's so true. Everything.
And I was thinking about him in the shelter. And I was like, Nelson, why is this happening to me? Why? What is the point of this? Like, I don't get it. But if I didn't go through that, if he didn't try to take my life, if I didn't end up in that shelter, I wouldn't have gotten that job. If I didn't download that app, it's just the very small things that you think mean nothing.
Please take that away.
And the
Every
big
single
things.
thing that you go through has put you where you
It's
are.
bringing you to where you need to be, because if you don't get there yourself, the universe or God or whatever you believe
Whatever
in
you
is
wanna call
going
it.
to kick you in the ass and
Thanks.
make sure you get there on time.
And the only way you lose is when you quit. Just keep going.
Just keep trying. Even if you're dealing with substance abuse or mental health or trying to just find a therapist or anything you're trying to do and you're just tired of doing it over and over, just do it one more time.
One more time.
Just one more time.
Just don't quit.
Because when you stop trying, that's when you need to worry. As long as you're trying, putting in any effort.
Every day is another opportunity to take that step forward. You get a chance every time. If you can breathe, you can fight. And if you can fight, you can change your life. Chelsea, thank you so much for
Thank you,
this
bro.
whole day. We spent the whole day together.
The whole day.
And it's
My wife
been
is gonna kill me. She's gonna be like, I missed
It's
you.
been so fun. It's been so enlightening, fun, heartfelt. We've cried, we've laughed, we've had some fantastic times. Thank you
He got
so
in my
much.
car and let me drive, which
I needed that.
I commend you
Thank
for that.
you so much. And this is going to be one of the best episodes on this show. And it's people like you that are going to inspire the rest of the world. I would love a hug.
Of course.
Thank you so much. We got to make it, keep it in the camera. This is my New York best friend. I would love it. Thank you
Sonny.
guys for everything.
Thank you for responding and
Of
leading.
course.
Again, send him a random message. And here we
Message me,
are.
I'll message you back. You're going to change the world, and I'm so happy. and
He's
thankful
changing the
for it.
world. He's an incredible human.
Chelsea's story reminds us that trauma doesn't always look like crisis. Sometimes it looks like competence, like showing up every day, like being reliable while quietly unraveling. In cities like New York, there is no reward for slowing down. So people learn to survive by shrinking their pain, by convincing themselves that if they're still functioning, they must be fine. But functioning isn't the same as healing, and strength isn't the absence of need. One of the most important truths in this conversation is that systems are efficient, not compassionate. They don't check on you. They don't notice when you're running on empty. They don't stop because you're hurting. And that doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Chelsea's story is a reminder that you're allowed to acknowledge impact, even if visibly nothing fell apart. You're allowed to name exhaustion. You're allowed to need support. You're allowed to slow your inner world down, even if the outer world won't. This series isn't about rejecting ambition or responsibility. It's about learning how to survive without self-erasure. This is New York, where endurance is required, but awareness is revolutionary. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stop pretending that you're unaffected and choose to care for yourself anyway. I'll see you guys in the next one.